So I bought my Apple TV 4 months ago this Sunday, and we're just going to do a bit of an overview of it. And as you can see here, I'm just swiping through the top row. You've got a lot of interesting features you can go through. TV, music, pictures, App Store, podcasts. We'll get to that in a minute. And right now I'm just going through the various lists inside the App Store, which is showing you how it's done. And if you double click the TV icon on your remote and swipe up, you can just cancel out of that, which is a neat feature. I very much like that feature. iTunes is great if you want to rent a movie rather than, get out of your house and go to the theater surrounded by people and, ruin your movie experience. Just make yourself some popcorn and watch it on your TV at home. And again, if we double tap the TV button and swipe up, it just gets out of there. And just going through my apps right now. Some of these I don't use, like computers. Now here's the TV app. As you can see, up next is basically all the channels I have that I've signed into it with. A lot of them are supported, a couple of them aren't, which is kind of a pain in my ass, but it's whatever. And right now, as you can see, Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, and I'm going to hit play on HBO now, and it's going to take me out of the TV app and into the HBO app. And it takes a bit of a second, but it is for the most part seamless. And it's a really good feature, and as you can see, it's playing. And it's going to go through an ad first. We're just going to get out of this so I don't get a copyright strike. And again, double tap the TV icon, swipe up, and you're gone. And we're back to the home screen. This is a very intuitive design, and it is much better than any TV box I've had before. And I'm very happy with the Apple TV the way it is. And here we are in settings, and I just wanted to show you guys, in general, you can go to appearance and you can hit light, dark, or automatic. I don't know what automatic does, I haven't tried it. I keep mine on dark mode. And then if we go down, as you can see, I have Siri off, so I have to do everything manually when I search, which isn't a big deal. And if we go into Bluetooth, which is where we're going in a second, there's the remote. Battery life is very good on the remote here. I haven't charged it in like 2 or 3 months, and it's only at 20%, so that's not bad. I find I have to charge it every couple months. And as you can see in Bluetooth, we have my wireless Bluetooth headphones, so I can listen to it wirelessly, which is great. I don't have to plug the headphones into the remote like I did with the Roku or whatnot. Alright, so you might be asking yourself, why should I buy the Apple TV over the Roku? You can get a Roku for as cheap as $20, $40, same thing with the Apple TV. Well, I have owned both the Apple TV and the Roku. Sorry, the table my laptop is on is shaking. And at first I really liked the Roku. But then I started having problem after problem after fucking problem with it. And most of the fucking problems I had with it had to do with the remote. The remote doesn't operate off of Bluetooth or infrared, it operates off of Wi-Fi. So if there's anything interrupting that signal, your remote's not going to work. And it ended up with me snapping my remote in half eventually because it just pissed me off so much. And then the other fact is, there's no Bluetooth support, so you can hook up a Bluetooth keyboard if you want to use that. It's very hard to type in passwords if you have very long passwords for some of your TV streaming services. It's just a bunch of issues collectively, and it is a pain in the ass to use the Roku. On top of that, you could sync up the app on your mobile phone if you have Android or iOS, and you can use the keyboard through that, except that has to be on the same Wi-Fi network as your Roku. And if you use a VPN on your phone to protect your identity at all times, like I do, the app doesn't fucking work. You can't sync it to your TV like you can the YouTube TV app, where you just transfer a code or whatnot. It has to be on the same network. It has to be unprotected. It has to make it so everyone can see what the fuck you're doing. And I'm not willing to do that on my mobile phone. My VPN runs 24/7 on my computer and on my mobile phone. So I would not recommend the Roku, even though it's cheap. Although the user interface is decent, I don't like the fact that there's ads on my home screen. That kind of pisses me off. Especially when the ads are tutorials of how to use something. I'm not the type of person who needs that. And like I said, the password situation is just shit. So what about the Amazon Fire Stick? Well, that solves a lot of the issues that I had with the Roku, because you can use Bluetooth. You can hook up a Bluetooth keyboard. It makes it much easier. You can hook up Bluetooth headphones for private listening, much better than plugging headphones into your fucking remote or your mobile phone, if your mobile phone even has a fucking headphone jack, right? That's the other problem with the Roku app, is a lot of mobile phones don't have headphone jacks anymore. So private listening is not really much of an option there, unless it supports Bluetooth through your mobile phone, which I don't know if it does. I haven't checked. The biggest problem I had with the Fire Stick was the user interface is fucking garbage. It basically looks like the Prime Video, but with an extra row for apps. And one of those apps is Prime Video, which makes it redundant as fuck. You can't turn off Alexa. Yeah, it's Alexa. You can't turn that off like you can with the Apple TV, so you're stuck with fucking Alexa listening to you all 24/7. God knows what the fuck she's doing with all that data. We've had a lot of issues with that type of thing in recent news. And the App Store was even worse than the fucking redundant GUI it came with on the home screen, because there were times when I'd be looking for an app and it's not where it's supposed to be in the options, and so, oh, it's under what's it called? I forget. I haven't used the Alexa in a while. It was under recommended. Okay, so why is it under recommended but not where it's supposed to as well? None of this makes fucking sense. So the user interface completely fucking ruined the Fire Stick for me. The App Store fucking ruined it for me. If you can put up with it, I highly recommend that over Roku. But hands down, I would recommend you spend the $150 on an Apple TV. The most expensive Roku is fucking, what, $80, $90? Spend the extra $60, it's fucking worth it. It's so much better. I've had almost no issues with the Apple TV, and I say that because if we go down here, there's this touchpad here, which I don't even use my Bluetooth keyboard half the time, because this touchpad makes it so easy to type in a password. But I had an issue where the touchpad was going fucking apeshit and just not unresponsive, but just registering responses it wasn't. Like, I'd go to swipe left and it would go kind of at an up angle, whatever. It was just spazzing out on me. Unplugged the fucking thing and replugged it back in a couple minutes later. That fixed the issue. I haven't had an issue since. Battery life lasts a couple months, so that's good. As I said earlier, if you double tap this this button right here with the TV on it, that'll show you what screens you have open. So that's another thing I like over the Roku. where if you're taking a shit and it takes, say, 30 minutes or whatnot, or you gotta go and do something and you gotta stop watching your TV show and go run an errand, well, if you're watching YouTube or whatever, Roku is going to cancel out of your app and you're going to go back in and find where you were, and it's a pain in the fucking ass. Whereas Apple TV, you can leave that screen open for fucking hours on end. I've left it open for fucking 5 hours before, and I've never had an issue. So that's another leg up the Apple has. And you have your volume, so just by plugging it into your TV through the HDMI, you can control the volume on your television. As I said, you can turn Siri off, so if you have Siri off like I do and you press the microphone button, sorry, I'm like very tired right now. If you press the microphone button, you'll have to do the search manually, which isn't a problem. Then you have the play and pause. You are going to want to buy a case for this remote, because it is made of fucking glass for some reason. It's not really that big an issue, costs like $8-10. I didn't get the Apple Care, but it's a very nice device, and it is the only Apple device I would be willing to recommend. Now, the reason why I wouldn't recommend the 4K is for a couple reasons. One, no 4K YouTube. 2, if you buy a 4K television, it's going to upscale anything you plug into it to 4K anyway, so just save your money, get the HD, and give me a second, I want to look up something here. And the other reason why I do not recommend the 4K HDR is there's actually a YouTube video by, I forget who it is. Hang on, let me look it up. I'll go into that in a second. Try and not make this video too long, but it's probably going to be longer than I want. So it's, can SDR perform better than HDR? Question mark. Type that into YouTube. It's by Twit Tech Podcast, and someone who's much better than I am at talking about this will explain to you that yes, SDR is much better than HDR because it allows you to use much better bandwidth, pretty much. And as you can see here, a lot of these are fake 4K. Baby Driver, fake 4K. A lot of these 4K movies are upscaled from 2K, so you're better off watching them in HD. Even the ones that are real 4K, they look fine in HD. It's really not worth wasting your money, in my opinion, to buy something when most movies are just being upscaled from 2K. Which is the same resolution Blu-rays are done in. So what they do is they shoot it in 2K, then they render it down to 1080p for Blu-ray, and then they upscale it to 4K for the 4K one. And then a lot of these 4K movies came out on VHS, so it's just not worth it to spend all this money upgrading to 4K Blu-ray player, 4K fucking Apple TV and whatnot. Just buy the HD shit, and your 4K TV will upscale it anyway, so it's not that big a fucking deal. So anyways, that's pretty much that. The Apple TV looks amazing. I think the picture quality, in my opinion, is better than the Roku or the Fire Stick. So I highly recommend you go ahead and purchase this. And I'm going to sign out now and go watch TV or find something to do.